Hello, everyone. I am TheMitch, and welcome to TheMitchTALKS. In today's episode, we talk about sexism. What is sexism? Well, let's look in Google's dictionary now, shall we? Okay, let's see here. Google. Already. If the thing will pop up, here we go. Sexism. Alrighty, according to Google's dictionary here, sexism, prejudice, stereotyping, or discrimination typically against women on the basis of sex. Sexism in language is an offensive reminder of the way the culture sees women. Synonyms: chauvinism, discrimination, prejudice, bias, machismo. I have seen that word before. Going on, he admitted that the company had been accused of sexism. Is that it? There's no other alternative. Okay, I think that's it. Wait, seems some right here. Sexism is prejudice or discrimination based on a person's sex or gender. Sexism can affect anyone, but it primarily affects women and girls. It has been linked to stereotypes and gender roles and may include the belief that one sex or gender is intrinsically superior to another. Again, guys, I apologize if I'm not the best at specific words. So again, I've got to apologize if I'm not the best at reading. But again, I try my best. Now, here's the part where my own opinions come in. And again, this is no attack on anybody. If you don't like to hear opinions that are different from yours, then I recommend that you stop the video and search cats or pets or animals or something like that, because this will be my opinion and it's not meant to be an attack, but people are allowed to have their own opinions. So I'm about to just speak my mind here. Going by this, how it says from right here, as you can see how it says, sexism can affect anyone, but it primarily affects women and girls. Now, I'm not very super knowledgeable or rarely knowledgeable at all on the factual statistics on female versus male when it comes to sexism that happens. That said, I still have the minds to know that sexism is not just mostly on one side. Hold on. Let me read this part right here that I didn't read. 1 in 3 French-speaking women has already been the victim of a sexist act. 1 in 2 French-speaking Belgians thinks that society is dominated by men. I'm not sure where that's coming from. There's a lot on this, but as I was saying, I feel that it's not just that bland. The way they put it, it's mostly affects women and girls. I would argue that it, as a male, that it affects males just as much, if not more. Now, obviously, I can't say that it's more because I don't have the factual evidence to prove that. But again, as a male, I do have my own experiences. I do see other experiences, other examples, all across the world, all across the internet, all over the things that you just don't see in the news, and just things you just don't see in media, things that you just don't see very many people talking about. And that's the problem with this that I have, that there's obviously a lot of sexism that goes on that people are not willing to mention. And the fact that they can put that it's mainly against women is something that I just really would like to call BS on, because yes, it that is there's a lot of sexism things against women. A lot of people feel that women shouldn't be in charge. That a lot of people have their own beliefs, and that those beliefs quite often results in them feeling that men should be the ones in charge, and that's kind of going back and forth. Something that I'm not willing trying to get into that specifically, but me personally, I don't believe that that only men can be in charge of everything. Of course not. Women can be in charge of whatever too, just like men can be. And I think maybe those are lesser cases by people that are particularly on the far right. I would say people that thinks, oh, women shouldn't be charged anything. They just should do their little lesser jobs, and men should do all the good stuff. And anybody that says that, I would think maybe that would be on the far right. But anybody with a level head would say that they would have no problem with women being in charge. That we have no problem. But when it comes to like presidential things like Hillary Clinton, a lot of people just typically would long for her to be president specifically for her gender. And I think that's wrong. You shouldn't want somebody to be president based on their gender. It should be based on the policies they do, the lungs, their beliefs that they hold, things like that. And again, I'm not a expert on politics. I don't know the correct terminology and all of those things. But I have my own simplified view of things. But I still have common sense, and I know what I know as right and wrong. And I feel that things should be truly equal and not just one-sided, one more than the other, because that's not equality. And I think that it's unfairly demonstrated here on the definition of sexism, because more often than not, I see situations where men are being attacked based on their gender. Is that not sexism? Of course, it is sexism. It is discrimination. Let's go to discrimination, shall we? Discrimination, the unjust or presidential treatment of different categories of people or things, especially on the grounds of race, age, or sex. Victims of racial discrimination. That makes sense. That's going into more details here. Prejudice, bias, bigotry, intolerance, narrow-mindedness, unfairness. Yes, these are the things that I'm talking about. It's discrimination. There's a lot of discrimination against men. There's so many examples that you hear about all over, and it's just things that you never really see by large medias. You never see it. Like, there's so many examples. I'm trying to think of one on the top of my head. There's just so many things. Like, for example, this whole the whole manspreading thing. Like, oh my goodness, don't even get me started with that. Like, that's so ridiculous. Like, as a matter of fact, while I'm here, let me just type of man spreading, and I'm curious. I'm curious to see what happens, or what comes up rather. Man spreading or man sitting is the practice of men sitting in public transport with legs wide apart, thereby covering more than one seat. Both this posture and the use of the neo neologists. Okay, I'm skipping. I can't read right now. Manspreading have on occasion some internet criticism and debates in the U.S., U.K., Turkey, and Canada. Um, that's another thing that alone is being attacked by the way they sing, and a lot of people is just it's ridiculous. Obviously, they're not doing anything to attack women by the way they sit down. Um, they don't take up uh, more seats because just having their legs slightly spread it apart doesn't take up any other seat. It doesn't take up the seat next to them. But what does take up a seat next to them is having bags, like particularly purses, which usually women has purses, having their purses on the seat next to them and keeping people from sitting down. That right there is rude. But again, you don't see that very much. You don't see people complaining about that. Why is that? I think a lot of this is just based on just bias and like discrimination, and it still leads to sexism. And that's the point that I'm making here, is that there's a lot of these demonstrations of sexism that goes around, and that you just don't see very much of it when it happens to men. But you only see what men does wrong, but it's you never see about the opposite of what the women does wrong, because a lot of people, like particularly on the leftists, SJWs, or third wave feminists, or whatever you want to call them, or whatever they call themselves, they can do no wrong in their eyes. It's always the men that's the problem. And that right there is just sexism. There's something that I like to call misandrism. And I just really, that's another thing that you just don't even see. You see the word misogyny so much, and you almost never hear of the word misandry. A lot of people don't even know that it exists. I had to search it myself. I discovered it from one day, just wondering to myself, what is the antonym for misogyny? Because you hear it so much, like you see it in on covers and on political things and definitions quite often. You see it so much in the language, but you never see misandry. And I was like, what is the antonym? And so one day I just searched it. What is the antonym of misogyny? And sure enough, misandry came up, and I looked into that. Let me search it right now, actually. Misandry. Here we go. Let the voice say it.
Misandry.
No, that's a weird voice. Okay. Dislike of, contempt for, or ingrained prejudice against men, i.e., the male sex. Poorly disguised misandry. Yes. There's a lot of this that's going around. A lot of that. And it's just, I would like to get more into this subject. It's a slow thing. This whole thing is a process. And this is my first episode, and I just want to, I'm just getting into this and getting some of my ideas out there, and some of my, on what I stand. But it's just, But don't worry, I'm going to get a lot more into this. It's not going to be the only one. There's going to be much, much more. And I just wanted to demonstrate that it's just not only what you see, it's only the examples that you see so much of men being doing these things that are wrong against women and often other men. But you only hear about what the men does to the women in particular. You never hear about what women does to the men. And there's just way too many things, way too many details, too many examples in general of women mistreating men, and there is no consequence for it because why should there be? They're only women and they can't do anything wrong. And a lot of those people who are the feminists, SJWs or whatever, they're the ones that's in that sort of mindset that they can do those things because it's right, because they're getting back at the men for in their mind mistreating women, who is obviously that's the very dangerous way to think, because number one, you just can't assume that that a man is going to do something wrong because he's a man. Again, that seems like the with the definition of what I just read to you. Again, that is sexism. Um, just because men can do wrong doesn't mean every man will do wrong, and it's wrong to see it that way, because obviously it's just like me saying, well, because some women does things wrong, that means all women is going to do things wrong. If I say anything like that, then it's going to be a World 3 or something like that. You can't. You just can't do things like that. That's just not how it works. Everybody is different, and you can't blame an entire sex, an entire gender of just because of what some people do. And that's incredibly bigoted right there to do that. And that's pretty much my belief on that. There should be fair and equal treatment here and given, but there's not. You just don't see enough people sticking up for the men who are being attacked in these ways, and it's really getting worse. And but yeah, I'm gonna find more things to more examples and more things to help me in with my argument and things like that, so I can bring more to the table here. But yeah, I would like to just know you guys' your opinions and what you think on this whole thing. I would just like to know what you think of all of it, and you can tell me in the comments. Be free to say whatever you want. And just as long as you keep it respectful. Making misandry a hate crime will embolden abusive men. Yeah. My goodness. There's a lot of things that makes me cringe around here. But anyway, yeah, you guys just tell me what you think about all this. Tell me your opinions in the comment section. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you got some type of something out of this video, some type of understanding of at least where I'm coming from. I hope I know I'm not very good at explaining things very well, but hopefully you guys could understand me enough to know what I'm for when it comes, well, at least when it comes to this this topic that we're on now, and and that I just want everybody to know that I'm just looking for true equality. I'm not looking to just bash on men, or in my case, like I'm not looking to bash on the opposite, bash on women, and just try to be in favor of men, and call that equality. And so I think it's wrong when people do that. I think it's wrong when people bash on men and always back up women, like women can't be wrong, because that's sexist right there. Everybody does wrong in this. It doesn't, I mean, statistically, of who does more wrong, everybody does wrong, and you just can't base people on what other people do and just try to judge everybody and base everybody on because on their gender from that. That's not how things work, and that's not how things should work. And I feel that everybody should be judged equally and given the same opportunities, and same opportunities as in women and men having the same opportunities, not people wanting more opportunities for women than men. Men have less opportunities, and that's not equality. And I think a lot of equality is going on right now, actually, with a lot of things, because women has a lot of the opportunities and things that they can do in today's world than anybody could way back then. And that's quite obvious that women can do everything if they wanted to, as men can do. But obviously, since women and men are different physically, a lot of women just can't get a lot of those things done because of their physical limitations, that of mainly being strength and other things. But yeah, you just see a lot of women and less women in particular jobs, and that's what that whole thing is about. Is like, but you hear a lot about the wage gap and things like that, but a lot of it's just women who chooses to do other jobs because that's what they feel that they're more good at. But more feminists wants more women to. I mean, why would you try to force more women into certain jobs? That's forcing other women to do things. And ironically, they always see it wrong as men forcing a woman to do anything, but they can force women to do things they don't want, because it's obvious that there's not very women there is because women doesn't want to work in those certain job areas. And that's why there's typically more men in many job positions. And it's unfair for those people to just want women to get paid for something that they're not even doing. And speaking of being having credit for a woman's job, like that's the opposite. Like you hear that saying, don't want a man taking credit for a woman's work. Yeah, this is pretty much the opposite. It's women taking credit for men's work. So that's very unfair. That's very it's very a sexist thought going on around with feminists that wants that sort of thing. And I really don't believe in that wage count thing. There's so many people talk about that all the time, including Steven Crowder and even Ben Shapiro. Just a lot of people on the ranking that talks about those things, the wage gap, and they really are right, and they give so many factual things to back that up, and a lot of people just aren't willing to read the facts. They don't want to accept it. But yeah, that's another topic. That's another video. That's another episode. But again, like I said, I hope you guys did get something out of this. I hope you guys could really be behind where I'm trying to go here. So again, this is a whole process that I'm trying my best to work on. and hopefully I pray that I can get better. I try to get more into this, more warmed up to it, more, practice more, so I can do a better job, and hopefully I can really go somewhere with this, because it really means a lot to me. So, with that being said, I hope you guys can really understand what I'm trying to do, and that it's going to be a lot different than what you're used to with other channels and this and that. And so it's going to be different with me. And again, this is going to be like for the normies. And so, yeah, and a lot of it is going to be opinion based. But as I said, then here and there, I'm going to have articles, whatever that topic is about. I'll be providing articles and trying to state the facts wherever I see them or discover any. I'll definitely state that and leave nothing out. You have my word for that. So, with that all being said, once again, I would like to thank you all for watching. I would like to thank you all for all of my friends for backing me up on this and being in my corner. I really appreciate that, and I hope to satisfy you guys' needs, whatever it is. Please let me know, would you like to see more on this, with these topics? Would you like to see more when I'm presenting my beliefs on these topics? What you think I can improve on, and what I can, so I can know what I can try to improve on, and what you like already, and anything that you don't like, or whatever it is, just let me know in that comment section down below. I really want people to start talking more in that comment section and tell me what you think. It's all about discussions here. So I'm open to all of that, open to anybody giving their opinions. Just, again, that's all I ever ask for is respect. Nobody disrespect anybody else. Always try to be respectful at all times. And as long as you have that in mind, can pretty much have any discussion, anything you want to say, then say it. Because all free speech here. I also ask for respectful speech. So that being said, I want to thank you all for watching. If you did like this video, hopefully, then please don't forget to leave a like for me. Also, share it with your friends if you can, and do please subscribe if you want to see more of these, more topics, more whatever you want to see. Then please don't forget to leave that subscribe for me, so you can see more of that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Don't forget my Twitter is in the description for whoever wants to follow me there. TheMitchTALKS at Twitter. That is my official Twitter page for my channel. So please don't forget to follow me there. And yeah, I do believe that is it. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. I am the Mitch. This is The Mitch Talks. And I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Later.